All right, good morning, scholars. Welcome. How are you all doing today?
Doing good.
I'm tired.
Oh,
Me too.
Fine.
Well, we're so glad you're here on time. I'm going to give all of you an in-place ticket for coming to class on time today.
wonderful. Thanks, Katie. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started on our SEL. So we're going to start with the warm-up discussion, which is around why is attendance important? So if you'd like, you can unmute and just share. You can use the raise your hand feature, or you can put it in the chat.
Well, it's important to come to school because that's where you learn things. And my parents always tell me I have to come to school anyways.
Tessa, that's a great example. I'm going to give you an engaged ticket.
That was a good example, Tessa.
Kate, that was really nice complimenting. I'll give you a respect ticket for that.
Tessa, thank you for the great example. Does anyone else have any ideas?
Because my mom makes me go to school every day.
Well, that's fair, Rich. Yeah, and I think a lot of us have some of that, what we call extrinsic motivation. So folks or things around us that are pushing us to come or encouraging us to do school. Ideally, we would move towards what we call intrinsic motivation. So finding for ourselves the reasons why we want to come. Go ahead and move on to our next slide. Okay, so what is attendance at QSS? So when we talk about attendance at Cora, we're talking about coming every day, every period. That can be a little hard, especially right now, because our periods are a little bit longer and we're in distance learning. Any thoughts or questions on that? Tessa, I see you shaking your head no.
It's really hard to get to classes every single day. There's 4 that you want us to be at. That's hard. And 8 o'clock in the morning, I don't like it.
Thanks for sharing, Tessa. I'm going to give you another engaged ticket, and I'm going to give you all another in-place ticket because you're all still here in class.
You bring up a really good point, Tessa. Does anyone else have any thoughts or want to add on to what Tessa was saying?
It feels really different and really hard in distance learning. I really don't like being on the computer.
Thanks for sharing, Judy. I'll give you an engaged ticket.
Really good ideas, everybody. We'll go ahead and move on. So just thinking about when you don't come to school, your staff notice. We really care about you. We want you to be successful. I've heard this before from some of you, Rich. I only miss sometimes, right? Well, a student or scholar who misses 10 or more days during the school year is 20% less likely to graduate from high school and 25% less likely to ever enroll in college. Any thoughts about that?
Are we almost done?
You know, it's getting close to lunch, Tessa. You're doing a great job hanging in there. Just give us a few more minutes. Okay, thinking about that intrinsic motivation I talked about before, it's about finding your why. So for some of you, I know you have jobs already, which is awesome. So think of school like your job. You're learning a ton of skills. Math and reading are really important. So when you graduate, you are savvy and you're able to read things like a lease agreement. You're able to do math to balance your checkbook. We want to make sure that you are able to be a fully functional adult when you leave high school. And you definitely need some of these skills to do that. And so you don't get taken advantage of. It's also important that you show up for school on time. I know, Tessa, 8 o'clock's hard, but every day. When you come to work, You have to be here on time every day. Miss Liz actually insists that we're here like 15 minutes early, guys. She wants us to do that so that by 7:30, every single staff is already working. So could you imagine if you started doing that for work or for school, showing up a little bit before 8 o'clock? So by 8 o'clock, you are already in class engaging in your work.
So it's not okay to show up late, even if it's just 5 minutes? I don't get it.
Yeah, so when we show up late, sometimes it can be seen as disrespectful to the people around us. What are some other reasons you all can think of about why it might be problematic to show up late?
Well, I like classes that seem more like real life, like when we do baking. And if you miss the first part, then you don't know what they're doing and they have to repeat and other people get annoyed with you.
Yeah, I agree with that, Judy. That's a good point.
Tessa, that was a good question. And Kate and Judy, I like your answers. I'm going to give you all an engaged ticket.
Rich, you've been kind of quiet this class. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't like showing up late because then I don't know what's going on, and then I usually just leave anyways.
Yeah, so when we show up late, sometimes it can make us feel more anxious too, because we're trying to catch up, and then it's like, what's even the point? So thank you, that's a really good point.
An engaged ticket for you too, Rich.
All right, you all. Well, it is lunchtime, so we're going to go ahead and pause here, and we'll come back in about 30 minutes, and then we'll finish up the rest of the lesson, okay?
Thanks for watching the video, everyone. Just a couple more pointers. In the video, you'll see I always gave out RISE tickets and verbally acknowledged the scholars in class, but you can also let scholars know they've earned RISE tickets by putting it in the chat or sending them a message. We just really want to make sure that every time we're giving a RISE ticket, we're letting the scholar know soon after what they did to earn the RISE ticket, and letting them know they earned a RISE ticket.
Or with, I use Pear Deck almost every class, which is pretty helpful because there's a lot of kids who don't like to talk on the thing or write in the chat, but when they answer on there, also acknowledging the fact and giving them RISE tickets for the Pear Deck answers.
One more thing that might be a little bit different in a typical classroom is you don't necessarily need to give a RISE ticket out every time a school appropriate behavior occurs. It can be more intermittent, so you're giving it just some of the time.